Welcome to the In My Opinion show with Ronald, Barrington, Robinson, and friends. Seen on the internet 24/7. I want to introduce my very talented co-host, Ms. Jackie Williams.
Hello, everyone.
And Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Ron.
And welcome to you, our millions of viewers worldwide. Let's talk about over 800,000 federal employees furloughed by Trump because the Democrats refused to build a cement wall separating the United States from Mexico. It is estimated that this has caused over $12 billion in losses to our country. Trump was only asking for $5.7 billion, claiming the wall is necessary to keep drugs from entering the United States. From stated facts, most drugs enter the United States by sea, air, and other commerce, and passenger traffic entering and exiting both sides of the border. In addition to the furloughed government workers, tens of thousands of Americans were unnecessarily impacted by this situation. In my opinion, this was the wrong thing for Trump to do. Okay, this is all of those people had nothing to do with Trump and his wall. Okay, so that he can please his base. We should not be held accountable, okay, or hostage for something that's not going to work. Period. All right, it's not going to work. There's other means of protecting the United States from drugs entering the United States. All right, there's drones. We have probably some of the most sophisticated equipment, electronic equipment in the world, which would be a lot cheaper than $5.7 billion, because he made the promise. What do we want? The wall. What do we want after speech after speech after speech? This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. Period. In my opinion. All right. Because I'm hoping that Pelosi doesn't go along with this, because when he has another tantrum, okay, he doesn't get what he wants, he's going to shut down the government again. Okay, so we can't let this go, folks. We cannot let him get his way. He's like a little baby, okay, crying like a little baby. Anyway, ooh, Jackie.
Okay, regarding the wall, I want to bring up several points. One of the points I want to bring up is that Trump held the House and the Senate for 2 years. And this wall could have passed the House and it could have passed the Senate because it was controlled by the Republicans. This was not an emergency until the Democrats took the House. Then it became an emergency to make it seem as though the Democrats were holding us back with progress. You had 2 years to move this if it was an emergency. And the reason why, because it wasn't an emergency. It was an emergency campaign promise, but it wasn't an emergency as far as health-wise. And the other thing is, we just had the directors of intelligence come before Congress last week, and they pretty much told us the state of the union as far as safety, what's going on, and all the things that they listed, the threats with Russia, the threats with China, the threats with North Korea. Not one time did they say the border was the top priority for us to be alarmed. So this is basically a campaign promise, and kind of piggyback on what you're saying, Ron, on the point of entry. And this is why the Democrats said they will give money to board, to make sure we fund point of entries, because that is a place, but it's not necessarily the wall, but it's point of entry. So a lot of this negotiations is pretty much verbiage, because it's the way that you say. If it's barriers, and it's because nobody wants to say, well, that's not the word I use. Well, 800,000 people being furloughed, and let's correct some of that too. Everybody is not going to get paid, because if you're a contractor, those dollars are lost. You're not going to be reimbursed. And a lot of places made money off of what they did. So the places inside of the airport, where people are traveling, they didn't make the money. They had to shut down because people weren't flowing in the airports like normal because you don't have your money. So a lot of little people were affected, as we call it, small businesses that will not be reimbursed. So this hurt the economy. And so everybody said the economy is so healthy, but this hurt the economy, and it's like they said, you will not see the results of this for months to come of what it did, because I'm not sure what the dollar amount is that what is it, 3 billion a day? Was it 3 billion a day? I have to look that up. But anyway, it's a large number that we lost because people were not paying they weren't getting gas, they weren't buying groceries, they weren't doing any of these things. So the economy pretty much stood still for 35 days where federal workers were able to contribute.
Well, it stated 12 billion
Okay.
dollars have been lost. Okay, to go along with what you were saying, you got the mom and pop stores, you got the restaurants, you've got people wanting to fly in terms of taking trips, and this kind of stuff. When you start hearing about they're not getting paid, all these people calling in, I'd call in too. All right.
Yeah.
The pilots. I mean, my goodness, the cruise ship lines. I mean, it's not just the 800 federal employees.
Right.
It takes into consideration hundreds of thousands of more people.
That are not employees.
All for a damn wall that I hope that doesn't get built, because it's not going to say this is not East Germany. You know what I mean? Let's not go back to those days. All right, that wall is not going to stop anybody. All right, there's already people digging tunnels.
Did you see the tunnel on CNN? Mm-hmm. Did you see the tunnel on CNN? It's
all right.
It's awful.
And they got drones and stuff. They got drones in Mexico too. I mean, my goodness. Okay, I mean,
as they say,
you can pole vault over them damn.
They said Pookie always had the top of the line stuff. Pookie always had the top of the line stuff. And here go the government thinking we doing something.
Yeah, I mean, come on, let's be realistic, okay? No, I don't want to see drugs, coming into the United States, all right, or Flint or anywhere else for that matter. But let's just step back a minute or two and think this out. Okay, I mean, if you've seen the pictures of those berries that they got out over there right now, hell, you can throw a basketball over the top of them. Okay, come on, and then them slats. Well, here, my Mexican buddy. Here's $10,000 worth of reefer, heroin, or cocaine. Reach through the fence. Okay, I mean, come on. Mr. Republican, what do you think?
Well, I don't want to see a long barricaded wall as a barrier for the United States. Nobody wants to see that. We'd like open space, particularly between two countries. But there's no way that we can maintain our sovereignty if people are going to walk across the wall, the barriers. They're going to disrespect them. We're a sovereign nation. And as I said this before, I want to see the country survive, not a political party. The country will be here long after political parties and the people who run them are gone.
Yep.
But we need to be concerned about protecting the integrity of the United States lines, their border lines. And we should not let people walk across those borders without some kind of discretion.
And I totally agree with that.
Democrats will agree with that.
Yes.
Maybe the leadership doesn't.
Right.
But by and large, the American people agree with that.
Right.
And they don't want to happen in this country what happened in Germany and Europe, where people just walked randomly across the borders with no disrespect for the integrity of the barricades and the lines that separate one country from another.
Well, that's
chaos.
But that's what it was.
We don't want that here.
But that's
what that does it interferes with how we control our economy here. It interferes with social justice, all kind of justice. It creates a lot of conflict between the people who live here. Not that we don't all have these conflicts already, and we can't control those that we already have. And then to bring in more people here without a plan and just across the border is not good. We need a plan when we bring people in here, not to let them just randomly flow across the border. And there's no way that we can stop it.
And we don't need them idiots like Hannah, whatever his name is, and this what's the lady's name? Calling shots.
Fox News.
I don't pay any attention to those folks.
And culture. All right.
Yeah.
They need to. They need to stay in their space.
But I'm not talking political talk here. I'm talking about what's good for the American people, what's good for my family, what's good to my kids that are coming and my grandkids that are coming. What is good for the people that I appreciate.
Well, you know what? I didn't even think of it like this, but this is a different way. I'm married to a Jamaican.
Yeah.
His family traveled here for a better way of life, but they did it the right way. So people retreat from other places to have a better way of life. So America is supposed to be that, we're supposed to be the big brother. And I'm not saying come across the border and start receiving EBT, because the stats doesn't support that. The stats support that people that come over and get, the correct way, they are employed, they go to school, they do what they're supposed to do. So a lot of them, so what we're doing is pulling a partial part of the stats and making it seem like it's all negative. It's not all negative, because a lot of people that come over the right way are doing very well. They're adding to the economy. But we can't require people because we have a treaty. So we can't require people to come across the border to have, and I'm talking about legally, we can't require them to have a plan when we didn't have one. We didn't have a plan when we came.
That's neither here nor there.
No, it is here nor there.
No, you got to think about
it. You can't change the rules when it accommodates you.
No, you can't change the thinking of the people who are negative to the concept. They have, as long as they are getting their meals every day, fed by a political machine, they're fine. They don't care about the country. They just care about the advantages that they derive from it. And we need to think about this country, what it's going to become. We need to think about what is our relationship with other people who don't look like us, who want to maybe get along with us and maybe not. We need to think about the barriers that exist between us and how we correct those barriers. And jumping on the side where we bring more immigrants in without illegally is not a way to do it.
I'm not saying illegally. I'm talking about legally, but I'm saying you can't change the rules when it accommodates you, because we said that they can come here based on a treaty, several treaties we have. They can come here and they can declare asylum. We have treaties with other countries.
There's a process for that.
But I'm saying let them go through the process. I'm not saying that I want them.
Who's stopping the process?
I'm trying to think attorney generals who said that people can't come here and declare asylum if they've been beaten. You can't change the rules in the middle, or you can't separate children.
What do you mean by beaten?
Abused women that have been domestically abused.
Okay.
He changed the language. And then we started separating children, which we found out, I'm glad you brought that up, because what we found out was that they were not reporting the true facts. There is thousands of children that they did not report that were separated from their families, and now these kids have had birthdays without their parents, and half of them don't even know where they're at. So that's why I said at the border, what they could do is they could have modern stuff where they could track children, they can know where they're going, they can hire qualified people to be able to process paperwork correctly, effectively. So if you're not, if you don't receive asylum, you'll be deported, and you know who's coming in, you know who's going out. You have people that are doing the job. But right now, we don't have the manpower to do what we need to do. So I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, don't change the process when it accommodates
Nobody's
us.
changed that.
Sure, they
Yes,
are.
they
American
did.
people,
Sure they
that's what the American people expect. They expect for the American government to be just and fair to the people that are coming in. It's only the people who are on these extremes that keep these petty arguments going on.
The government
but the
is not
American
just
people
and
don't
fair.
see that.
But they're not taking jobs from us, so that's not a true. Because
but-
I want to throw this stat out here because Sunny off of The View brought this up, and what she said was, believe it or not, black women are more educated than other races. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Well,
It's a fact.
No,
go
I
ahead
didn't.
and check it.
But I do know that they're better educated than the black men.
So what I'm saying
And
is, so
and
when you
that's
see
maybe
people,
what they are saying.
but what would you see when you see people that don't look like us? We don't know what their capabilities are.
If bla-
You can't judge a book by its cover, just
Well,
like
hold
that
it.
book.
Why don't we command more authority in institutions and CEOs, position of CEOs, and higher demanding jobs and situations? We don't see the black women there. Why is that? And businesses want only the best of the best.
But you can't get the
But
best.
I don't want to go in. I don't want to argue
you
that.
can't-
So you
can't
think you think the immigrants getting it,
Getting what?
the jobs?
Oh, immigrants are generally better educated if they're coming from certain countries.
But one of the things that your president, just again, he only hires immigrants to work at his golf course.
Oh, that's not true.
Sure it is.
He just got on
But
TV and said it again.
He does have immigrants.
Yeah,
there.
because he
Why
said-
shouldn't he? Immigrants
Oh,
are the
here we
people
go.
who are They are working people. They will take a job and get the job done. And won't
But nobody's
join the
racing to
union.
pick bananas. The stuff that they do, these jobs are going unfilled. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
You can't have it both ways.
You can't have it both
we
ways.
have to have immigrants. This
Sure
country
we do.
couldn't function
Right.
without
And we
them.
need them to come through the border
Can
correctly.
only one person talk at a time? Thank you. We need our immigrants.
Right.
Okay? People out there can't hear you because we sound like we're mumbling.
Well, then
And we
we're going
sound
to have
like
to mumble
we are
to get our points
arguing among
across.
each other.
If they can't understand or
And,
distinguish
generally,
between
I
mumble.
don't participate on programs like that.
So I agree. We do need immigrants. We need everybody to be able to fill these jobs. And so that's why a lot of jobs have not gone filled, is because immigrants do play an important role in our workforce. But I agree. I'm not saying open up the floodgates and let them just roll over. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is process them. But right now they're telling us that we don't have enough judges, and so that's what the Democrats are proposing. Let us go ahead and fund some of this stuff. So not just border a wall. Let's just do the border security. So let's get judges so they can process these people. So if they don't, if they don't process them and they can't come, then we can send them back where they're not waiting we're not having to build places to hold them. That makes no sense.
Well, this is an argument that's far beyond our capacity because we don't know. We have no facts except the ones that are given by the media and by people who sat in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party.
Henry,
But the truth out there is somewhere else.
Henry, you hit on a point. You said that people that don't look like us, they are the ones that's being discriminated against.
Yeah.
Okay? Those are the people that are being discriminated against. And it shouldn't be that way. If those was white folks out there on that border, if that was a white country, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
It depends on who's running the country.
All right.
If we were running
See?
it, we would have this conversation.
You know?
People don't change just because their positions change. And if we were
That's
in the
good.
same position as a white man right now, we would do the same things.
No, you
No,
can't say
but-
that because
no.
Yes, we can.
it's a moral compass. It's a moral
Oh,
compass. Yes,
moral
I'm sorry.
compass.
It's a moral compass. Some of us have a moral compass. I have a moral
What
compass
is a moral compass?
moral
And
compass
how
is-
do you measure it?
by your decisions and how you really the decisions.
What are the
come from-
standards for a moral compass?
It's what you believe in and making sure that you don't sell yourself short.
Does
You don't-
everybody believe exactly the same thing? You can't have a moral compass without a standard.
We do have standards.
And
Based on what? What you believe? Everybody doesn't believe the same thing.
Well, we could tell.
But I want to clarify something here. I don't mean that for all of the women out there, all the black women that are well educated, which I know a lot of them are well educated. No disrespect to those women, but all of them are not like those women.
That's
We have
right.
some premier educated black women,
That's right.
and most of them appear as Democrats. Okay, and I respect them.
Condoleezza Rice.
Well, I'm not.
I can name
need-
her. I can name
Start
her.
with my wife,
Oh,
my daughter,
yeah.
my granddaughter. Start at home first, and now Condoleezza Rice. Okay, but
Right.
but I don't mean to take anything away from those women. They are as equal in capacity to any other person on this planet. But you can't elevate us above everybody else because it's unrealistic.
But I'm not saying elevate us. What I'm saying is you can't say because somebody's in position that they're making bad decisions that if you were to switch places with them that you would do the same thing. You can't say
That's
that
human
because,
nature.
Well, no, because some people are not for sale. Some
Well-
people are not for sale, and when I say that, I mean it doesn't matter what your audience is. You're not trying to gather an audience and pay a price for it, so it doesn't matter. Just like me, I can only say what Jackie will do. I can't speak for you, and I can't speak for Ron. But what I can say for me is, I don't care what the situation is. I won't compromise my religious beliefs for you or anyone.
Well, you shouldn't.
And I don't. But what I'm saying is, if I
Given
don't
to you by
have
the Constitution.
right.
That's given to you by the Constitution. An instrument gave you that right.
But the
You
thing
didn't. You don't
is,
have it just because you're you.
no,
You have it
but
because
what
of the
we were,
Constitution.
what were values in my house. That's what morals are. Values. What were values in my house might not have been the same values in the president's house because my mom always told me that if you didn't have anything nice to say, close your mouth. You don't speak.
Tell them what you want them to hear.
That's what your mom said.
No, that's what we do.
Oh, I was like, that's what your mom said.
Yeah, that's what we do.
But I'm saying, that's my point. We teach at home and then we come out of the house and we speak what we've been taught. So what I'm saying is, if you've never been taught to be kind, if you've never been taught that you too could one day live paycheck to paycheck, you have to be careful because you can tell where you've been, but you don't know where you're going. Things can turn real bad. You think homeless people sat out in kindergarten and said, I want to be homeless? No, situations came that sometimes you have no control over, and sometimes mental situations happen.
You're preaching now.
amen.
Maybe you should
no.
go to church. No, but let me finish. So my point is, so you have mental issues that might bring you somewhere. So what I'm saying is, some things do mess and move our moral compass, but it still is what reflects your morals. And so what I'm saying is, a lot of times when you get people in the public that don't have consideration and empathy for other people, it shows. Because when the government workers were off work, I was trying to figure out what I could do to help out. Because it's them today, it could be me tomorrow.
That's true.
That's how I think, because I don't think I'm better than anyone. My mom said, again, you're a paycheck.
That's right.
From, you know what I'm saying? So being homeless. So you don't know. So I don't want to go around acting like this doesn't touch me, because them today, us tomorrow.
Well,
true.
the only thing I really appreciate from the president, he doesn't tell you what you want to hear. He says, this is it, guys. Amen.
Whatever that means. You sound just like the Attorney General the other day when he got up and made a speech.
I heard you go numb there. But You had nothing to say because the president says, well,
Nothing.
that's how it is, guys. And guess what?
We have nothing to say.
He tells you like it is.
No,
And
he
then
don't tell
all of
us
a
like
sudden-
it is.
And all of a sudden you're hurt. Your feelings are hurt. Don't say that.
It's not I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. Soon as he opened up his mouth, I'm disappointed.
Me too. And how can you even respect this guy? All right. Again, facts. He has lied to the American public and to the world over 12,000 times. How can you respect somebody like that? How can you? It's unimaginable, you know. I mean, like Jackie was saying, it's how you were raised. I can't imagine. You know, he might have been raised with money, but okay. Look at the background. Where did that money come from? His grandfather, prostitution and drugs and alcohol.
You can't say all of those things.
That's true.
No.
Look, check them out.
Now,
check
in
out,
order for you to be credible on this show, you gotta
out,
tell things that you know. And what's
check
likely,
out Trump's history.
I don't think that he
That's
got
all you have
any
to-
money from prostitution.
His grandfather, I didn't say him. I said his grandfather.
He's not associated with his grandfather. He has responsibility for his own action in his own time.
You're not hearing what I'm saying, I don't think. He got his start, all right, from bootlegging prostitution, all right? His family. That's where he got his start, all right? So if that's the case, what kind of environment was he raised in to make him be the way he is today, all right? And again, at the end of the day, I'm saying this, all right? After you clear away all the dust and this, that, whatnot, all this mess is, okay, people of color, they're afraid of the vote.
You know what?
See, they're afraid of the vote.
I have never seen the people of color look as good in the United States as they do today.
I'm talking about...
Hang on a minute. I want to make that point because so many of us don't see that. Everybody looks prosperous. Whether you're an athlete or whether you work on Wall Street, whether you're a teacher, or whether you're a CEO of a big industry, we look good. We articulate well. We plan well. We interact with our...
That's the polish.
That's all right. That's what we need. That's what our young people need to see, those kind of people.
Sure.
10 years ago, we saw only the ones who were characterized by their behavior before the law. Jailbirds and stuff like that. Criminals, rapists and stuff like that. But now there's an elevated image of us that our kids need to see for the next generation. You remember the paradigm shift is coming. We need to have those kids ready to lead.
But you got to also take into consideration, all right? Look at all of the homeless folks, all right? Here, a month or so ago, I was in L.A., okay? Thousands. You go to Ann Arbor, hundreds, all right? Makeshift, you know, sleeping outside, all right?
We need those people in Alabama and Mississippi to help pick cotton. And
Now, see, there you go with that racist shit.
Now, hold it. There's a lot of stuff that they can be doing where the weather is warm. And they don't have to go and...
True Republican, isn't he? Huh?
Well, now we have to bring the mix. We have to bring people in from other countries to do this kind of work.
Oh my goodness, we need some oil. We need some oil.
We have lots of jobs in this country that we say we won't do because we were slaves at one time. And we have to bring in other people from other countries to do these jobs. As we make them our slaves or whatever you want.
Just when I thought you couldn't go no further, you did.
Well, with that, let's bring the In My Opinion show to a close. We will probably touch base back at this at a later time. But this is Ronald Barrington Robinson saying for the In My Opinion show, stay focused.